And today is our very first ever LinkedIn Live, and Anthony's been really kind to come on and let me cut my teeth with him first. So thank you so much, Anthony, for letting me in. We're actually part of the same networking group, which is an online networking group called Network B2B. And we were having a conversation, weren't we, about segmentation and about how important that is from a marketing perspective, from a sales perspective. And I was like, we should actually do something on this. So he's really kindly agreed to come in today. This session is live, so please share any comments. We'll look out for the comments in the chat. We're going to aim to be live for about 20 to 30 minutes. Thanks, Anthony, so much for agreeing to come on and share your experience and insights with us today. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Henny. So, yeah, Anthony Draper, known as ex-military mentor. So, my background is, funny enough, military, where I was sort of jumping out of planes and helicopters and doing a number of things for about 10 years. And then after that, I sort of moved into sort of the, should I say, the private world, the civvy world, as we call it. And then I've spent about 15 years in that, sort of cutting my teeth in terms of working my way up to sort of boardroom. Whilst also doing business coaching and a number of other things as well. And as of sort of September last year, I sort of rebranded to the ex-military mentor because I wanted to sort of embrace that side of it, that leadership, that adaptability, that resilience, to sort of help companies sort of stabilize and grow. So that's my background.
Fab. Exciting. But this is going to be very different from jumping out of planes and things today. So one of the things that got us really talking was about segmentation and why it's important for businesses. I think often for us, when people build a website, they put up their homepage, their service pages, all these other pages, and then they're great. You need all of those, but actually you need those landing pages that are very much against those segments. So we're talking the right language. And that sort of got us started on this topic of conversation as to how do we explain to people why it's so important and the sort of results that you can get by doing that. So I really wanted to talk, sort of open that up with you today and have a chat about why you think from a sales perspective this is such an important topic, and the sort of results that people get from using segmentation.
Yeah, I think, I mean, in terms of segmentation, first of all, let's start off with marketing itself. So, one of the challenges I do see is that people don't necessarily realize how important marketing is in terms of setting up for the sales in the first place. So, I've worked in a number of organizations, worked with a number of organizations that see marketing as a cost center, when actually sales and marketing as part of that customer journey should be as one.
Agreed.
So in terms of segmentation, it's actually an essential marketing strategy. So it's about taking your sort of broad target audience and then breaking that down via demographics, industries, life cycles, and seeing those sort of shared common needs and interests and priorities that they have. Because in today's world, everyone is bombarded with information, and individuals' attention spans are getting less and less. They're at an all-time low. I mean, I was looking at some sort of video analytics not so long ago, and on average, the videos that are being watched are only being watched sort of 10 to 30 seconds. And that's and that's it. Actually, the shorts are a minute long, and people are still only going 10 to 30 seconds. So marketing is really key to really be able to home in and get that hook and talk directly to your audience as quickly as possible. And
Yeah.
so if you actually look at segmenting right down, it's like talking to an individual in a crowd of millions. You get that increased engagement, that higher conversation or conversion rate, and in essence, you get a more substantial return on investment. Does that
Yeah.
make
100%. I mean, we're seeing the same here, that the more nuanced each segment is and really honing down on who those target audiences are. If you're speaking generically, you're speaking to no one. Whereas if you are saying, identifying the key issue that someone has, their biggest pain point that they are currently struggling with, and then saying, here's the solution, and wrapping a guarantee around that solution that it's going to work, we're finding that you're going to get a much, they sort of recognize themselves within the copy. They go, oh, that's me, and look how they've helped this person, and here's some of the results that they're getting. So you're really beginning to get under their skin. You're speaking their language, which means that you're very likely to get those results. We're also finding through email marketing, if that hook isn't right, then they only go as far as that email before they press delete. So we're not even getting them down persuasion funnels or anything else. So that marketing message needs to be dead on to drive that traffic through your, we call them persuasion funnels here, but to drive them down your sales funnels as a whole. So I
Well,
completely agree.
yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, again, it's not just at the front end. You need to be talking to them all the way through the customer journey, and they need to be feeling that you're actually listening to them and you understand them. I mean, you look at ex-military mentor, where we're supporting ex-military entrepreneurs, and it gives me the opportunity by homing in there, and I'm also going down, and I'll talk a bit further about how I niche right down, but it enables me to understand unique challenges, harness their distinct strengths, and provide targeted and effective solutions that actually meet their needs. So
Yeah.
yeah, I fully agree.
So talk to me about how you start helping someone segment their audience.
Yeah, I mean, good question. I mean, first of all, I suppose you need to have a thorough understanding of your general target market to begin with. Because once you've got a good understanding of that kind of helicopter view, then you can start delving deeper into your demographics, looking at things like age groups, locations, and actually drill down until you reach a level of detail that initially feels uncomfortable. Yeah. But it's in that discomfort where the true insight really lies. Because a lot of the time people have FOMO, a fear of missing out. But actually, the fact is there's a massive market out there. And so, really, if you can talk directly, so I mean, the essential kind of things to understand is sort of about their lives and the mindsets of your potential customers. So, what's their professional situation? What role do they play? What challenges are their businesses actually facing? But what more importantly, what are their personal obstacles? What keeps them awake at night? Their aspirations. I mean, how do they perceive themselves? How do other people perceive them? By resonating and speaking directly to them around those kind of things, you need that is precise segmentation. And then, of course, the other thing as well is obviously you've got kind of identifying patterns and common characteristics. So you've got the tools out there such as surveys, customer interviews, and then also with social media and websites, you can actually do that kind of stuff. Does that make sense, Henny?
Yeah, I mean, what we tend to do here is say, right, let's take, in a business, generally we find that people have associated products, associated services that they've bought in because they're all applicable in some way to someone that they're serving. But in each of those, there are subsectors of those people that they serve. And so for us, it's just breaking down. So who are they by job title, by what does their day look like? You know, what is their biggest struggle? The bigger the pain point, if we have a solution for that pain point and we can show the transformation, that's really what people want. They don't want an option, they want the option. And if it feels too generic, then it doesn't necessarily resonate. They're like, I've tried this before, don't really care. So we always break down by your sort of key pillars plus the products and services. So demographic, age, geographic, all of those. Then we do job title, subsectors, so that we're speaking to them. So for example, we always use a gym as a great example, saying if you had a gym, there's different sections of the day when people would fill that gym. So you might have the early morning when people are going to the office, they want to get it over and done with. Then at lunch, sort of in the morning, you're looking at the mums who are coming in after school drop off. All of those people will have different wants, different needs. And therefore, we're not going to talk about building muscle to a woman who's probably just had a baby who wants to lose weight. It just is not the same conversation. But if we're saying to them, we guarantee to lose 10% of your body fat after post pregnancy body fat or your money back, that is something that's instantly going to speak correctly to them, the same way as the people who are going in to build muscle. And if we can rapid guarantee around those fear points, the bigger the fear point, the best the guarantee needs to be to get them to take notice, then you're very likely to get people going, that's me, I recognize myself, that's the result I've been looking for. Now let me just go and check them out and see if that's something that I want to do. So for us, it's absolutely key, because I must get about 80 emails a day that I just press delete on, because they're totally rubbish and they're the same generic messages. So
Right.
we always go, why don't you just pay attention to what's coming into your inbox and what you're actually clicking on? It will be the ones that really resonate with you and not the ones that don't. So it's really trying to break that audience down into those nuances, and then having landing pages and a targeted marketing message for each of those sectors. It's also cheaper overall, because people waste a lot of time, money on marketing as a whole. But by breaking down those target audiences, the pay-per-click costs are cheaper. Actually, the time you spend on each one is less overall. So actually segmenting them up for us is you just get better results overall.
Fully agree. Yeah.
Um, what One of the things that we did speak about is that we've both found, haven't we, that people are really reluctant to segment their audiences as a whole, and they sort of go, well, if I segment, then actually I'll get less money or less coming in, and actually I'm for everyone. So how do we get over those challenges, or help businesses really understand that this is something that is needed?
Um, so I think, so as I say, in my experience, companies do grapple with that FOMO. But the irony is exactly what you were saying. Is with proper segmentation, the messages, without proper segmentation, should I say, the messages will fail to resonate with anyone at all. I like to call it the spray and pray marketing, which is a costly, inefficient approach. So really, when working with customers and actually trying to get them to think a little bit differently, it's about starting small and proving the concept. So you don't necessarily need to abandon your current broad spectrum marketing strategies immediately. What we can do is we can actually work together to run a tightly segmented campaign in parallel, and then once we've got a well segmented campaign, you'll see, it'll prove itself that it will deliver significantly better outcomes. And then we can demonstrate that. And then we can actually start moving across to that as well. And in fact, actually, we can start saving some money as well. But the other thing as well, I suppose it's not about permanently narrowing your focus to a single audience. It's like you were saying, Henny, in terms of the gym. What you've done is you've proven a particular kind of segment of your wider target audience. But actually, what you can do is prove the one, and then actually move on to the next, and then move on to the next. Does that make sense?
100%. So I think for us, people get worried about when you say you need to niche down, they're thinking that you're disregarding everything else
Yeah.
on the side. But we always say, look, there's a low hanging fruit here. Who is your main body of customer currently? Who's coming to you? Let's target that segment first, get that one working really well, really tight, and then start to bring in the others. So all you're doing is identifying target markets clearly, making sure that that message resonates with them. You're proving that outcome. You're showing that transformation journey that you can do with them to, and also you can track and trace all that data. I think that that's the other thing, is that we call it scattergun approach marketing here, funnily enough. And one of the things that we would say is, if it's just blanket, you'll probably get one or two, but if it's highly targeted, you'll begin to see patterns in their behavior. So some messages they'll resonate with, others that they won't. But that feeds back across everything overall, because even if we get stuff wrong, that's fine. Change it, try something else. But the minute you find something that's right, that feeds in across your social media, it feeds in across your website, it feeds in across every genre of your business. And it's like hitting that golden nugget, really, that you're looking for. And it does take time to find what works, what doesn't. But overall, you'll get better results as a result of actually doing it. I think some businesses find it a lot of hard work, which is where I think someone like yourself comes in, because they can help guide them through it. They feel a bit lost at that sort of start. Essentially, we build websites, we'll tell people that this is what they need to do to get the best results. We'll run things like Sales Funnel Club and how to, get your marketing message right. But ultimately, they often need that hand holding all the way through from beginning to end to sort of prove the concept, as it were.
Yeah. So I mean, you hit on a really good point there about the metrics. So the fact is you should. I mean, it's a dynamic process. So the fact that we're even homing in on a particular segment at the moment and certain pain points and certain things that are resonating, but the market changes. Yeah. I mean, some of the core stuff doesn't change too much over time, but there's a lot of other things that do change. And so therefore keeping that kind of monitoring in place and being able to agilely sort of change accordingly, that enables the kind of longevity of a company to actually react to the market. And then,
Yeah.
of course, I go back to the fact that the more effort you put in up front to talk directly to your audience and really qualify those leads that are coming through, the more chance you're giving your salespeople, because your salespeople know that what's coming through to them is the ideal kind of client or the ideal audience, and actually they're already ready to talk to them because they already know that we've got solutions that are targeted at them. So it really helps from that front.
Yeah, because I often find when I was doing my consultancy business with the marketing, there were so many times when sales and marketing just weren't speaking together. There was no feedback loop, there was no continuity with the website, with all the messages running through. So they were sort of like going into a fight with one arm tied behind their back because the marketing, the sales, the website, none of that was aligned. And it didn't seem to matter the size of company that I was going into. It was exactly the same. And you were like, why is this across the board a problem? And one of the things that we try to do when we're building websites is to create a solid marketing strategy and align that with the business goals, the website, everything, so that when someone like yourself can come into businesses, they've literally got the right materials to work with in the first place and not be hamstrung by what is actually there. It's about actually really having the right messages, the right setup, the right technology, all of those things to help them get that right. But it all starts with segmentation, because if that's wrong in the first place, we're not saying the right things. We're never going to get them to the website to actually resonate with anything in the first place, which is why I decided to start with you to do this live today.
So you just touched on there the customer journey, and I'm a big one. So I've got three pillars. I've got strategic planning, operational excellence, and customer centricity. And to me, the customer journey is what culture should be built around, because actually everyone needs a sense of purpose. There are missions and values that a company will have, but in essence, the company exists for the customer. And by making sure that customer journey and that everyone is built around that, from marketing, sales, fulfillment, customer success, back office functions in terms of support. But if you get that right all the way, and it's a closed feedback loop, so your customer success then comes back round to the front again to help the marketing, then you'll get that right. And that will give you the kind of stability within the market that you need, and that's what will help you to grow. So yeah, fully agree.
Anthony, thank you so much for coming and doing this live today. I really appreciate it. And we hopefully didn't have any technical difficulties, which is absolutely brilliant. Anything that you want to share? How can people work with you? Should they wish to?
Yeah, I have something what I call booking a no fluff chat. It's probably a bit military because I don't want no fluff. so yeah, if anyone goes to my website, Ex Military Mentor, there's ways to contact me on there. Always up to talk to people, even if it's not necessary to do with this. I'm up for helping people wherever it may be. But my target market is ex-military entrepreneurs up to about 5 million turnover that have sort of hit that ceiling. So they've got to that ceiling where actually they just need a bit of help in terms of knowledge and experience, because I have been there, I have done it, and I can help them along the way. So yes, and thank you, Helen, for having me.
It's a pleasure. Well, thanks so much, and we'll catch up soon.
Cheers, Helen.